You know, to a lot of people, this thing is controversial, and that's fine, whatever. I think it's honestly one of the most amazing things I've ever seen on planet Earth. I have been in meetings for the last 20 years of my life. How do we catch bigger bass? How do we catch more bass? That's what our job is, to tell stories of how you can catch more fish. Gang, this does it. This absolutely does it. From Alabama to Kentucky to Michigan to New York, this does it. If you don't want to throw it, you have every right to not throw it. But I'll tell you, Scout's honor statement, it has taught me more about fish behavior than anything I've ever thrown in my entire life. This thing right here has taught me more about smallmouth than I've ever known, bar none, hands down. And I live up in Michigan, and we tape a lot of Zona shows, you know, for smallmouth, and I started thinking, gosh, if I can learn the way largemouth reacted to that thing down south, if I can learn how to connect that with smallmouth fishing, it could be some of the most incredible stuff that I've ever experienced. And that's exactly what the last 3 years have been fishing the umbrella rig up north. This right here is a Strike King titanium rig, and the beauty of this rig, this is not some goofy, look, I've used every single one made. Ones you buy in stores, ones that are made in barns, ones that are made in kitchens. The beauty of this one right here, it pulses good. It pulses. You want that to flare in the water when you're kicking it. The other beauty is when you get them going on an umbrella, when you unhook one, this is right back to shape. It's right back to where it's supposed to be, and you're not sitting there, you know, bending coat hangers. What I had to learn the most for smallmouth up north is how to balance the rig correctly to where it hovers. You always hear, you know, Rick Clunn's a master of talking about how speed is critical for crankbaiting. It's the exact same thing fishing an umbrella rig up north for our giant smallmouth bass. You don't want it to be burning, you know, 10 foot under the surface. You almost want it to be hovering. You know what I mean? Like it's trying to get away, but it's not quite there. And how I did that is I put all 1/8 ounce squadron heads, 1/8 ounce, 1/8 ounce, 1/8 ounce, 1/8 ounce, and then I keel weight it with a 1/4 ounce. And basically what that acts like is a rudder. You know what I mean? It just holds it symmetrically in the water more than anything. And the nice thing is with those 1/8 ounce heads and that 1/4 ounce, you can fish it in 25 feet of water. You can burn it up in 3 feet of water. It just holds it together to where it doesn't want to blast out of the surface if you're burning it, or just kind of drag on the bottom where it's doing nothing. As you can tell, there's obviously one color I like the most. That's a KVD Swimmin Shiner, and the color is green gizzard shad. And what I do is I'll take their head off, okay? And to me, this is the most critical point. When I thread this on, you notice I thread this on. What I'll do is take a pair of scissors. When you look at it right there, if you look at all the other baits, they're done, they're ready. And what I'll do is I slice that belly right there and a little bit off the side of that bait. And now what that'll do when it's in the water, water's gonna push past it, and it's gonna make those tails kick more than anything. If you look at every one of them, I take that little piece of plastic off so water will push right through the bait and get them, every one of the Swimmin Shiners kicking. And last but not least, I'll make a target. To me, that's the weak link for smallmouth bass, is I'll put chartreuse on the side and on the tail. And here's what's amazing is, I've had an underwater camera on this for the last year. What's amazing to me, they'll look, fire. It's amazing to watch a smallmouth on a camera where he'll eyeball your entire school and fire. I would say probably 80% of my bites come on the target. Sometimes your boot tail, this is no joke, your boot tail will catch. And we naturally think, well, heck, I'm never gonna get a bite on that. Here's what's been funny the last year is a lot of my footage, the first one they look at is that one there. I don't know if it's a wire in a bass where they'll come and look at the different one. Now he may fire on the another one, but he'll come and look at that one first because it's different than the rest of the umbrella. Here's what I can tell you. If I reel my umbrella in and one of the boots is caught on the tip of the hook, keep on throwing it. Trust me, it draws them in for some given reason. Well, look who's behind me, right? Look at that. Oh my gosh. It's kind of like Tom Brady doing a drive-by during a different football game, you know what I mean? Van Damme just kind of cruising down the lake as we're doing workout here today. The setup I use, you are not babying with these fish. I use a Loomis NRX 916, that's 91 inches long, and it's a 6 power. But the beauty of that rod is the long handle. You have leverage to launch this. You need a long handle, and the other side of it is I use a high-speed Shimano Antares. When one hits it, a lot of times they'll hit it at the end of the cast. I want torque and speed to get that fish in the boat. And here's one difference that I've noticed from fishing down south to fishing up north. Almost everybody that I fish with down south uses braid for their umbrella rigs. And I think a lot of that has to do with that a lot of those lakes have grass in them. When you're smallmouth fishing, use straight fluorocarbon. Use a 20-pound straight fluorocarbon and you will get more bites, because trust me, I've crashed and burned. And the other side of this is, it's like any other bait, you have to learn the retrieve. And I always say, you want to get this to pulse, boom, like a school of emerald shiners or a school of alewife do, where it looks almost like a flock of birds, where it pulses, it gets tight, then it expands. And by doing that is when you get it out there, you're constantly kicking that reel handle. And I am not joking when I say this. Hey, there's a lot of people like the umbrella rig. There's a lot of people that don't like the umbrella rig, but I can tell you in the last 3 years, it has caught the biggest smallmouth that I've tangled with in the last 10 years with other techniques. But the whole thing, learn the retrieve, make sure that your rig is balanced, all 1/8 ounce with a 1/4 ounce keel, pound them.